keep on bombarding all of us with all sorts of things. In fact, if you notice these WhatsApp groups, they tend to be eventually what they were not designed to be. You know, they start nicely. Part of that priority, because I think of what all of us see in terms of matric results performances, we felt that let's help work with public sector environment and prioritize the education conversation as the ICT industry. We were first to admit that we don't come from the education background, we're just mere technologists who think that we can make a contribution in changing society. And we're looking forward to learning with people who are education specialists. Some of them, we'll hear from them in the presentations here today. So it's really a humble movement of technologists who want to contribute to society and share technologies that are available in the market. You'll see the program that is next to you in the tables, in the newsletter that you see in front of you. That at the back we have a program. And you'll see that in the program at the back of this newsletter designed by our team, we've got a full-on program. And in the program, you'll begin to see some of these technologies that are being proposed. But more importantly, it's the contribution of the education sector in the form of publishers. You would notice that most of the publishers, the big 5 we have in the country, are all here, and people also who are specialists in the digital skills environment, such as NEMISA, will be here to contribute in this particular conversation. The third year takes a little bit of a twist from what we've done on year 1 and year 2. The twist it is to begin to hear the bigger voice from higher education sector, which is the TVETs and the universities. You see in the program we've got quite senior people who come from the higher education sector, such as the Chief Information Officer for Nelson Mandela University, Mr. Sam Musire, and the list is long, including people come from the TVET environment that will be having part of the conversation. We think that as we look at the growth of the education sector, these 2 sectors of education must then begin to work together. What we've not done is that we've not moved away from the key focus on basic education. That took a view that, if you notice on year 1, we worked high level with policymakers, politicians. Year 2, we worked with national department. You remember the Chief Director for Education that came to present last year with the Deputy Minister, Stella Ndabeni. But this year, we decided to zoom directly to the provincial department that is responsible for e-learning, which is led here by Dr. Drake Cliff, together with the CES team, Mau and Mr. Tele, next to her, and some of the people who drive e-learning in the districts of education in the province. The presentation, which is the first one, will set the tone from Dr. Drekrief in terms of what is the lay of the land on e-learning currently, so that our conversation understand what context that we are living in. So we really appreciate you coming in. But let me just make 1 minute of formal acknowledgements, then I'll hand over to the knowledgeable people to then begin to have a conversation with us. Let me acknowledge the Councillor from ICASA, Palesa Kadi, who is amongst us, who will be making a presentation. The Department of Education, Basic Education, the Eastern Cape representative, members of the legislature and the standing committee that are here, the office of the MEC, folks that are here, together with the labor movement in the education sector, SADTU, NAPTOSA, as well as higher education, NAHAU. We want to acknowledge their leadership delegation that is here. We want to acknowledge the traditional leaders that are amongst us. And more importantly, we want to thank our speakers for making time to prepare presentations to engage with us. Lastly, we want to thank our corporates who are at the back of our program. We continue to be appreciative for their role and contribution, and more importantly, for Vodacom for continuing to be a flag bearer in making sure that we contribute as a society and as a technology sector, and then as a telco, in changing lives using ICTs. So we really appreciative to all of them for making time. Without wasting time, let me hand over to our dear friend, Rufus, to then take us further with the program. A round of applause for Rufus!
Let's give a round of applause for our learners who are with us today. Our teachers are our future, our learners are our future presidents and our leaders in future. We thank you for coming. Without wasting time, our first presentation, because Eastern Cape is the host, Mote has spoken about the big 5 publishers. And I was asking myself, who are the big 5? I'm looking around the room, I see there's Via Africa, there is Pearson there is Shooter and Shooter, I'm not sure. Vodacom, give me a signal to read what is at the back. Our first presentation is an overview of ICT landscape in the Eastern Cape. May I take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Brev to present. Let's give him a hand of applause.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Program Director. All protocol observed. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to address you today and give you the overview of what's happening in the Eastern Cape in terms of ICTs in education. Layout of the presentation is as follows. I'll say something about infrastructure, about connectivity, about professional development, e-content, and 1 or 2 recommendations. First of all, the ICT infrastructure, and I'll talk about devices. Before I continue, we have the e-learning group at the head office. We have the director at IT, who is responsible for infrastructure. We have a director at EMIS, who is responsible for e-administration. And we also have FET, who is responsible for CAT and IT, the 2 subjects. So we are a group of people working together. And of course, in each district, we have one e-learning, at least one e-learning representative who is responsible for training and monitoring. About ICT devices, let me give you the overview of what is in schools at the moment. First of all, computers for administration. All schools have those computers for administration. In other words, to do the SSAMS submissions through that. Computers for teaching and learning. Out of the 5,600 schools, 72% have now laptops or some other computer for teaching and learning. Other devices, like tablets and stuff. There are 28% of the schools that have that. And broadcasting equipment, which is mainly in high schools, there are 13% of the high schools that have it. There are 900 high schools in the Eastern Cape. Let's look at the different types of devices. If we get to laptops, I think, thank you, David. Since last year, we have this wonderful project initiated by, I think the whole drive towards ICT in education was started 2 years ago when we had a temporary SG, Mrs. Netshula Pala, and now we have an SG, Mr. Kojana, who's really passionate about ICTs in education. And under his leadership and drive, the department was able to distribute 41,000 laptops from grade 1 to grade 9 this last year and this year. And if everything goes well, the FET teachers will also receive. This is the biggest drive I think we ever had in the Eastern Cape. And although it's not a 100% complete solution, it is a wonderful thing that happened. All principals also receive laptops and tablets it's mainly for the administration side. And schools with CAT and IT, we have 455 schools that offer the subject CAT and 55 that offer the subject IT. Telematics centers are 527 at the moment. Telematics centers are broadcast from Stellenbosch University, where teachers from the Western Cape do lessons. It's broadcast via satellite and it's picked up in those centers in our province. It's done in the afternoon so the teachers and the learners who attend it get quality content instruction. Smart classrooms, we did over the past 2 years. There are 987 classrooms in 293 high schools in the province. One